stop studying the way most students do. Seriously, if your study routine consists of highlighting pages, rereading notes, and spending hours staring at textbooks, there's a good chance you're wasting more time than you realize. It feels productive. It feels responsible. But feeling productive and actually learning are two very different things. Have you ever studied for hours, walked into an exam, and suddenly forgotten half of what you reviewed? And realized that just a few days after a test, most of the information had completely disappeared from your memory? You're not alone. The problem isn't that you're lazy. The problem isn't that you're not smart enough. The real problem is that nobody ever taught you how learning actually works. Most students believe learning is about spending more time with information. But your brain doesn't measure learning by how much information enters your eyes. It measures learning by how much information stays in your memory. And here's the truth. Your brain is designed to forget. Every day, it filters out information that doesn't seem important. When you simply read something once or twice and move on, your brain assumes it doesn't need to keep it. That's why highlighting and rereading often create the illusion of learning. The information looks familiar, but familiarity is not mastery. Real learning happens when your brain is forced to retrieve information. That's why cramming rarely works. You might remember enough to survive tomorrow's exam, but your brain treats that knowledge as temporary storage. Once the test is over, much of it disappears. Top-performing students understand something different. They focus on retention, not just exposure. Instead of repeatedly reading notes, they use active recall. They close the book and ask themselves questions. They test their memory. They force their brains to retrieve information without looking at the answer. Think of it like going to the gym. Watching workout videos won't build muscle. Lifting weights will. In the same way, reading information won't strengthen memory nearly as much as retrieving it. One of the most powerful ways to use active recall is the Feynman Technique. After learning a concept, try explaining it as if you're teaching it to a child. Use simple words and simple examples. If you struggle to explain it clearly, you found a gap in your understanding. Fix the gap and try again. Another powerful strategy is self-testing. Flashcards, practice questions, and mock exams don't just measure learning. They create learning. Every question strengthens memory and reveals what still needs work. But even if you learn something today, there's another challenge: forgetting. That's where spaced repetition comes in. Instead of reviewing everything in one giant study session, revisit important information over time. Review it after a few days, then a week later, then again after a few weeks. Every review tells your brain that the information still matters, making the memory stronger each time. Finally, understand this. Success isn't built through occasional bursts of motivation. It's built through consistency. Study for a few minutes every day instead of waiting until the night before an exam. Use small, repeatable habits. Focus on starting even when you don't feel motivated. Consistent effort always beats last-minute panic. At the end of the day, the students who succeed aren't always the smartest. They're the ones who understand how learning works. They use active recall, they use spaced repetition, they test themselves regularly. They focus on understanding, not memorization. So the next time you sit down to study, don't ask yourself how long you're going to study. Ask yourself one question: how much of this will I actually remember? Because studying isn't about spending more time. It's about making the time you spend actually count.